Well, good evening, this is Hound Dog Steve coming to you on the 24th of March. And flooding water everywhere. Oh my goodness, the Midwest USA is underwater, and that is going to be the topic tonight. And a very warm welcome to those who are returning to my channel. It is great to see you here, and also a big shout out to any new visitors. Please comment, like and subscribe below. Click that big red button, it really does help when you do, and it's really great. It's really encouraging that we are creating some kind of narrative here around some of the world events that are taking place that affect all of us, whether directly or indirectly. And this evening, the reason I'm talking about the weather is because it's not just in the Midwest USA, it is also in Canada and also over in Europe. Everywhere you look, they are experiencing a cold, wet start to spring. There's been a lot of snow this year. All across Europe has had record-setting snowfalls, as has the Midwest this year. And so not only do they have flooding, there is runoff to be concerned about. Now, why is this so concerning? Because these are the great producing farms. These are huge corn, soya, wheat producing areas, sorghum, all of the staples that go into the food that people eat. Now, a big thing also that's taken place with this flooding, as you will see, is that the storage areas, you know, the big silos that you see on the farms, have also been contaminated by water. And because of the FDA regulations, it doesn't matter that only the bottom foot is wet. You can't scrape off the top layer of grain. It's all considered contaminated, and it must all be destroyed. So they're supposed to be planting coming up next month. Now, as you'll see, there is no way these fields are going to be dry enough in a month's time, and that's if we get no April showers. That's if we get no serious rainfall in April. Now, this goes right into the whole climate debate, which frustrates me to no end, because as soon as you put up any contrary evidence, all of a sudden you are labelled a denier. It's almost like we can't have a conversation on this topic. But a chart that I really like, I show people this all the time, okay, and you can see right here, that's the little ice age, and that's where we are. You know, what about this warming period here, and this warming period, and this warming period? Much warmer than it is now. And miraculously we all survived. Fancy that. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it, that we should come through such terrible times. The reason people don't survive these kind of episodes is because they are unprepared. We're now getting flooding where we never used to get flooding, and where we used to get flooding, it is now becoming more severe or arid. The weather patterns have changed so much it is unbelievable, and as a serious gardener myself, I realise how even small changes to the weather can just ruin your entire growing season. And this is the big problem with the global warming narrative. It doesn't tell you what to do. It doesn't tell you what it's going to look like on the ground. You know, they talk about extremes, more hurricanes or less hurricanes or what have you. I find it interesting that Arctic ice is increasing, and also that the Great Lakes ice has increased this year. It was less than normal up until January, but from there on in, that polar vortex, when it dropped down, it brought some severe temperatures in the winter, and Saskatchewan has just decimated its records going back to 1915. Okay, so we're breaking huge 100-year-old records now with cold temperatures. So why is this important? Because your government is not telling you what the real story is about what to expect, and that is that these small variations in growing. Let's go back to another weather episode, which was the Little Ice Age. Now, this is the time that the Irish was starved out, and they were starved out because they had basically got themselves down to one kind of potato. It was called the lumpar potato, and it was huge. It was a big yielding potato. It was fast growing, so of course it fed a lot of people and you could eat them right the way through the growing season. However, the one thing that the Lampard potato did not like is a wet foot, and when it started raining, when the climate changed and those clouds rolled in, and that's what we're seeing. This has been the year basically in my area. It's a roller coaster. We've gone from freeze to thaw. We've had some very cold episodes, but we've had some, usually followed by freezing rain or rain. So we have massive amounts of ice on the ground, and it's been a long grey winter. It started back in November with minus 18 degree centigrade temperatures, and as I say, we've been roller coastering ever since, from that kind of weather to rain. And so these are the kind of things. And if Europe is having trouble with its spring, if North America is having trouble with its spring, I think you can guarantee that food prices are going to go up. Anyway, let's take a quick look at these articles that I found and some photographs I'd like to show you just to illustrate how much water we are talking about here. And then we'll come back and I'll do a quick wrap up. Okie dokie. Here we go. Okay, here we go. The end of the American dream. Catastrophic flooding in the Midwest could last for months, and that's going to mean a dramatic drop in the US food production. The worst flooding disaster in the history of the Midwest is just getting started, and as the crisis unfolds, we are all going to feel the pain. The bomb cyclone that recently brought hurricane-force winds and blizzard conditions to the middle of the nation was the spark that set off this catastrophic flooding, and now all of the snow from one of the snowiest winters in decades is going to be feeding into rivers that have already shattered all-time flood records. As you will see below, most of the Great Plains and Upper Midwest is currently covered by more than 10 inches of snow, and all that water has to go somewhere. As all of that snow melts, we are going to witness an agricultural disaster that is far beyond anything that we have ever seen before in modern American history. We're in for the long haul. We're just getting started, said Reynolds. It looked like an ocean. But this is the important bit. As of December 1st, producers in states with flooding, including South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Wisconsin, and Illinois, had 6.75 billion bushels of corn, soybean, and wheat stored on their farms, 38% of the total U.S. supplies available at that time, according to U.S. Department of Agricultural data. Are you starting to get the picture? Weather underground, the stage is set for potentially devastating US spring floods. A home is surrounded by floodwater on March 21st, 2019 in Craig, Missouri. The town of Craig was completely surrounded by floodwater, with every building water damaged. Bloomberg, recipe for flooding threatens wheat along the Red River. As the Midwest recovers from record flooding, cities and towns along the Red River in Minnesota, North Dakota and Canada are preparing for a deluge of their own as the heavy snows of winter start to melt. Okay, so here in this picture, you see these silos here? Okay, that is grain storage right there. And these farms all over. Look at this. Look at it. As he said, it's like an ocean. These are all pictures from the Midwest. As you can see, this is not going to dry out in time for spring planting. Historic flooding in the US Midwest kills 2 as states of emergency declared. Flooding is wreaking havoc across Iowa, southern Minnesota and Wisconsin, eastern Nebraska and southeast South Dakota. Oh my God. Can you imagine? Green Bay firefighters assist residents in evacuating their homes due to floodwater in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Okay, so this is from the National Weather Service. This is the North Central River Forecast Center. And this, anywhere where you see purple or red, there is going to be an issue. Okay, and so there is going to be continued severe flooding in the greatest grain producing area of the United States of America. And so here we are in Europe, and there is a very mixed bag for Europe, and believe it or not, it is that mixed bag that makes farming the most difficult. And as you'll see by this map, Spring will arrive early for some parts of Europe, whilst cold and snow lingers on for others. And so here we have late start to the season in the eastern part of Europe, frequent storms, and here we have sandwiched, let's look right to this middle, sandwiched in mainly dry periods between rainy periods. And so it's feast or famine. These areas here will have a difficult start to spring. Maybe not a late start, but a difficult start with heavy rains. Late start to the season, and of course this will be a difficult season with frequent storms. Multiple stretches of 16 degrees C or higher temperatures are expected during March in Paris, Nantes and Lyon. Come April, the same cities will have the potential to reach 27 degrees C, 80 degrees Fahrenheit on multiple occasions. This weather pattern will also result in higher than normal temperatures across Ireland and the United Kingdom. However, much of the warmth will be spoilt by frequent wet weather as storms from the Atlantic cross near or just north of Scotland. Above normal rainfall is expected across much of Northern Ireland, Scotland and Northern England for the season as a whole. The most likely time for a lengthy period of dry weather in these areas will be during the month of May. Oh, just after you planted and you need some rain. So that really gives you an idea of some of the devastation that has been taking place, and I think you'll agree that even with no rain between now and May, these fields are going to be struggling to dry up in time for planting. And of course all your winter stuff is gone. The winter wheat is gone. Okay, that will not grow in these cool, muddy, wet types of springs. And this is the same for growing food. We are going to need little greenhouses, little hoop houses. You're going to start things indoors. We are really going to have to get into some kind of survival mode here, because it is most clear and apparent that the government is not going to show you the way. They're going to keep on pretending that this planet is warming when the warming has been stopped. It's been in a stasis for about 20 odd years now, and we're now starting to cool again. Sun flaring has slowed down. This is leading to an increase in cosmic rays, and cosmic rays create cloud cover. And if you don't believe me, just watch the documentary The Great Cloud Mystery, which I will link below. Okay, so we are in for inclement weather one way or another, and I would suggest you prepare yourself accordingly. Start now any way you can, whether it's bucket farming, whether it is window ledge, whatever it is, raised beds, however you can. You need to learn how to grow a little food, even if it's sprouting. You know, sprouting is a great way of getting fresh vegetables when you can't grow outside. It's a way of getting your greens and your nutrients, and they will grow in a jar by the window. Okay, so sprouting is a cheap and easy way to get yourself started on eating a lot more greens in your food diet. Okie dokie, if you've enjoyed this video, please comment, like and subscribe below. And in the meantime, this is Hound Dog Steve signing off, wishing you a great week coming up, and we will talk very, very soon. See you now.